Hello guys, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Finally, with episode 21. This is my first attempt at a single stage to orbit flight in this playthrough. I am showing you the simulation here of my newest ship that I've titled the D.A.M.N because, well, it's an acronym for During Acceleration Malfunctioning Nonsense. Because for some reason I just can't get it to work properly, as you will see. First up, if I use the afterburner here, it becomes unstable, tries to veer to the left, but I can still get it off the runway. So this works fine, but for some reason I designed it with everything in mind. It's got RCS, it's got life support. It was supposed to be a reusable plane to take everything that everything that the space station needs up to the space station, basically refuel them and swap out one person at a time, because we've got the one pilot that's in this plane that's flying it, and we've got a second seat for passenger. Or you could swap out both crew if you already have a pilot on the space station. Well, basically works fine. I decided here to just make a burn test here, because it's a simulation. As you can see in the top left, this costs me money, but not as much as if I would build it and then try it out in real life, so it's rather good. And I just decided to do a burn at about 20 degrees and see how far I would go. As you can see with the afterburner, these engines are very, very powerful. Nearly too powerful for the playthrough, but they work. And so I get very hot very soon, but I will need those speeds when really trying to get into orbit, because my non-atmospheric engines are very small in comparison. They're only the small 1.25 meters. Well, let's see. It looks stable at the moment, but for some reason it's just not working right. You saw the first mistake on the runway, and you will see the second mistake pretty soon when I reach apoapse and when the plane is going down again. And seeing it going up stable is okay, because this means I could potentially get it into orbit if I fly the right way, if I fly towards 20 kilometers and then go down. Here I'm starting the second engines, because the first ones are about to run out, even with the afterburner. As you can see here, the thrust keeps decreasing to a very minuscule point, and well, I basically don't have enough speed to keep rising my apoapse with those small engines, so this attempt will be doomed to fall back down. But it was planned that way, so now I can deactivate these engines. I can't do this with action groups yet, because I haven't upgraded my spaceplane hangar, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but at least this works. And as you can see, test burn is working, speed is increasing, although just slightly, and soon I will hit apoapse, and then I can simulate how the plane will behave when going down into the thicker parts of the atmosphere. It will basically be the same thing when I will come down back from orbit. Now, trying this took a lot of time, as you can see here, and it worked rather well at the moment, except for those start. And I think the start was the problem, that my wheels had steering enabled, and when you have SAS steering and the automatic torque or the automatic traction on the wheels enabled, it becomes unstable. But as you can see now, going down, I suddenly became unstable, and I needed to activate the RCS system to keep myself in a stable position. But once I reach about 25 kilometers up, even the RCS isn't good enough anymore to keep this plane stable, and it starts to flip over and spin. So I just decided to cut everything and see what would happen. I'm trying my best to keep it stable here, but for some reason it keeps getting unstable and will in a few seconds start to spin. As you can see here, we're starting to spin, and this is basically it. From such a spin to get back to stable isn't gonna happen, so we need to try another thing. This was the second attempt at it. Now on this one I just decided to take the normal engines to go up to about 10 kilometers and then level out a little bit and then start the afterburners. This would be the right way to get to basically get a SSTO into space. Go to 10, maybe 15 kilometers where the air is just working, that your engines will keep increasing your speed, and then try to level out as much as possible and get as much speed as possible, so your apoapse keeps rising and rising and rising, and you get to near orbital velocity inside the atmosphere, and then you just need that little push from your vacuum engines. So now I decided to try this burn here, activated the engines, and as you can see my surface speed is increasing. It looks pretty stable for now. Looks like it's working, and for some reason, I have absolutely no idea what this reason is, now it starts to roll. I tried to increase my pitch here because I wasn't able to pitch up enough, and now it's starting to roll. And bam, exploding. Well, that's it for the design of my SSTO for now. I need to get some supplies up to my space station, so I decided to build something else instead. This is my KSP Dragon 1. It's basically a low-tech Kerbal version of the Dragon spacecraft. It's propelled by 2 stages up into the atmosphere and has a command module at the top, which with 2 service bays. The service bays can be crammed full of everything you need. One service bay has electricity, the probe core, and the other service bay in this particular case is full of life support, but you can basically put anything in there that you can get into a service bay. You could even change the second service bay for an inventory system, because I've got the inventory mod installed, so you could haul up beer for the Kerbals and everything that's in the inventory system, the nice good thing, or you could haul up solar panels in the inventory system that my Kerbals can then attach to the space station when they need it. So the first stage here gets us up there, and this one's got parachutes on it. So the first stage will fall back down to Kerbal and I can recover it. Maybe in the future I will do a second version of that doesn't require parachutes, but does what's it called? A powered landing, like SpaceX does with the real ones. And now we just need to get into orbit and get the solar panels out. There we go, like the real Dragon, 2 solar panels on the side. I don't have the larger, smaller ones, so I just used the normal 6 ones. And now trying to get into orbit and into a rendezvous with my space station. This is pretty basic. I timed this launch so that the space station was maybe a few hundred kilometers before the KSC, so not directly overhead, as you can see here. And so I should be able to rendezvous with the space station within about 1 orbit. Now just preparing the parachutes for when we get back down. And what I already realized here is that I've overpowered my lifter. For the real spacecraft which I want to use, which I basically will be using until I get my spacecraft in working order, I will do make the lifter a little bit less energetic. I don't need this much fuel because I would basically just leave a fuel tank, half empty fuel tank in orbit every time, or I would have to deorbit it. As you can see here, I've still got enough fuel left to circularize my orbit here and get it into a nice encounter with my space station. The first encounter here is not really gonna work, so I just time warped until I'm over there. There we go. And I'm a little bit in front of my space station, so I need to raise my apparatus up so that I'm higher than my space station so it can catch up to me. Because if you're in a higher orbit, the spacecraft in a lower orbit, it moves faster in relation to you, so it can catch up. And there we have it. Nearly all caught up, and we're within a few kilometers and can now start our docking maneuver. For this, I decided to use a little bit of fuel still to get it to the right orientation and then ditch it, because like the real Dragon, this one should only work on RCS while getting towards its target. The problem here, as you can see my target speed, it's pretty high, so I for some reason wasn't really looking at that and just now realized, or basically in this moment realized, oh my god, the velocity is a little bit high, I should really start to decelerate and to not overshoot. And so I basically tried to decelerate as quickly as possible, as quickly as my RCS engines would allow me, and hoped to not overshoot on the space station, or in the worst case scenario not crash into the space station. This would be a worst case scenario, crashing into my space station at 10 or 20 meters per second. But I luckily just timed it right, so I got into a good nice spot here to dock with the space station. This is pretty basic. You can also see it in my first docking video that I, even while I explained how the docking maneuver and process worked. So I'm gonna try to talk a little bit about the plane again, because for some reason I have no idea why my plane isn't working. So basically I've got Ferrum Aerospace installed, and you can check your stability calculations and everything is in the green with this plane. Everything's in the green, so it should work perfectly, or near perfectly. But for some reason it works perfectly in low altitudes, low speeds. It works pretty good while climbing, but once I flatten it out at a high altitude, once I'm under 5 degrees pitch, above an altitude of 10 kilometers and above Mach 1, it becomes unstable. So if you guys have any idea why this is, how I can mend it, or if you have any design ideas how I can change my D.A.M.N spacecraft to work better and to maybe get the second version a nicer name, please just let me know, and I will try to take these things into consideration for the next episode. For now, as we are docked with our nice little space station, it's unfortunately night, so this is not the perfect view, but I've got a few lights here as you can see, and I decided to time warp until it's daylight for your benefit to see the whole space station as it is. I think I need to do some cleaning of the space station. As you can see, the top left part, these rocket tanks, they're not supposed to be there. They were one lifter that lifted the rest of the part with the science lab up and basically just stuck there. So I think I'm gonna have to build something that can push individual objects away and deorbit this in the future. I need to do some sort of, well, recycling, space recycling, so it can push debris back into the atmosphere. This is gonna be one of the projects and one of the next episodes, definitely, because this thing is just taking up space, one docking port, and not really helping my station any. And if I get this away, I can start building some more hab modules on the space station. For now, as you can see, I'm starting to transfer the fuel there to get, not the fuel, sorry, the life support there, to get it into the station. And because I can pack 2 full large life support tanks in one of the service bays, I had way more life support than needed. So I'm definitely gonna keep the Dragon here for a few weeks or months until all of it is spent up, and then I'm gonna send it back down in the next episode. And again, if you have any ideas about my space plane, please tell me for my next episode. I really want to get this going. And I hope I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching this episode of Kerbal Space Program. If you liked it, be sure to leave a comment or click that like button. And if you never want to miss an episode again, be sure to subscribe. I hope I'll see you guys next time.